Greetings, Stoutlaws. Once again, I'd like to thank Vaxi for continuing to fuel my mouse addiction by sending me out not only the Outset, but also this very cool mouse mat. So keep in mind, I might be a bit biased by how well they've treated me, but one thing I'm not biased on is Stouty coaching, the scientifically proven fastest way to improve in both Mordhau and Shiv 2. If you haven't seen my previous NPO1S review, I'd recommend checking that out, and I'll leave a link below because the superb quality of the NPO1S is shared here with the Outset. The clicks are seriously satisfying to the point where I look forward to pressing them. So rather than repeating myself, instead I'll focus on the differences between the two. Despite looking like a chungus, the weight of the Outset is surprisingly only 5 grams heavier than the S, feeling deceptively light in hand. So really what we have here is a competition of shapes. One change present on the Outset is the decision to recess the scroll wheel into the mouse, giving it this unique snub nose look. In practice, it gives the already tough scroll wheel even more resistance due to having less purchase over it, which again, I don't mind as I prefer rigid scroll wheels. However, as someone that uses their middle finger on the scroll wheel, which apparently is uncommon, let me know in the comments whether you're an index or a middle scroller, I do find it slightly more difficult now to reach, but it's not a significant change. Unfortunately, it's still way too hard to press in. Whilst near identical in length, the Outset is much fatter and reaches up to meet the palm beneath the index finger, then slopes downward, allowing your palm to envelop the mouse entirely. In contrast, you have to drop your palm down to meet the low-profile NPO1S, which is near symmetrical at the top. From this angle, you can really see how towering the Outset is, which allows it to have slightly wider thumb buttons than the S. Having mained the Rival 500, I felt right at home on the Outset as the two have very similar dimensions, and whilst its shape is definitely more welcoming, I have to say that after trying the S, I think I prefer being closer to the desk as it makes me feel more connected to my tracking, although actuating the buttons is easier for me high up on the Outset. For comfort, the Outset is the clear winner with its spacious curves, yet there's something to be said about the sheer efficiency of the NPO1S. Vaxi have chiselled away at every dimension to design a flatter, more nimble shape while still maintaining a good degree of comfort for the palm. One way of describing the difference in game would be the Outset feels potentially too comfortable, the palm starts to get complacent, and whilst my hand does fit on the S just about, it forces a more strict form which potentially benefits my aiming. Both are fantastic mice that will stay on my desk as I'll most likely continue swapping between the two due to being torn over which I prefer. For FPS games that require snappy aiming, I seem to perform better on the S with its low profile shape. However, my bread and butter genre of course would be melee games where precision isn't as demanding, and the Outset instills a bit more confidence thanks to its reassuring width and is more ergonomic for day-to-day use with its shape that is more catered to palm grippers. So the winner for me is going to be the Outset, as I suspect it will be the more viable shape for me overall. This was a very close competition though, and you can't really go wrong with either model, it just boils down to personal preference. As for the mouse pads, as you might have guessed from my previous review, I'm not particularly obsessed with mouse pads and would probably never justify spending a lot of money on one as they all feel much the same to me, but I will say that this Vaxi PA feels very smooth whilst also offering control, and I enjoy the design, a nice addition to my desk. Shiv 2, coming out in Steam in 4 days time. Make sure you're following my Twitch as I'm going to be streaming the launch of that. Also make sure you're subscribed to my channel, 26k subs just hit. Let's go Stoutlaws.